and welcome. You're watching another fresh episode of Your Trade. In fact, a weekly edition of such a volatile week. I think this was the week which we'll remember for years to come, because the kind of swing we saw on Nifty, Bank Nifty, and of course broader markets was way beyond imagination. This is Priyanka Uppal along with me, Snehi Shah. Snehi, round about 5,000 points of swing we saw on Bank Nifty this whole week.
It's been quite the volatile week. But Priyanka, imagine
Nifty
when you tell
1,000.
people in the future that we were 400 points away from a lower circuit on one day, and at the end of that week we were very close to hitting record highs. I don't think anybody is going to believe it till you actually show them the numbers.
We've just briefly missed the all-time high again. But then look at the swings which we saw in this whole week. Nifty gained around about 3.5%. Of course, volatility in the Indian market subsided as the key coalition partners pledged the support to NDA, and hence we saw one-sided move ever since Wednesday kicked in. Nifty gained 3.5%, swing of about 2,000 points the whole week. Bank Nifty saw around about 5,000 points of swing whole this week. Broader market, small caps saw they gained nearly 3% and saw a swing of about 2,500 odd points. Mid cap gained about 3%, and this is all when FIs are still net sellers. FIs have not covered the FNO positioning, the FNO shorts till now. In fact, they've sold around about 18,000 crore till month to date. That means just in 4 sessions. DIs have though added 6,000 crores this week, but then the kind of volatile move we saw on VIX also. On the low side, VIX was more around about 16, and on the higher side, VIX was at a high of 31. So such a high volatile week we've seen. IT registers the biggest single weekly gain in over 3 years. Top sectoral gainers were persistent. Tech Mahindra FMCG happens to be the second top gainer with gains of more than 8%. And stocks like United Spirits, Ghost's Consumer were the top gainers here. Nifty Reality Pack saw 4% of gains this week, which happens to be at the third spot, with Prestige and Shobha leading. Losers, quite many losers were there also. PSU Bank, Energy Pack, and these were the key losers, with names like Union Bank, Bank of India. They happen to be at the low end of the stack. But then consumption stocks, what a week for consumption stocks, and what a recovery play we saw in almost every pack. If you talk about Adani stocks regained. Adani Ports was again a top gainer of Nifty if you talk about the weekly gains. But then yes, an important week in terms of for the whole globe was watching India, and today happened to be another important day also, because RBI status quo, which was widely anticipated on priced in, but then of course on macro front, let's not forget, Snehi, 2 important events. ECB cut rate cuts in 5 years, and now eyes on FOMC verdict, that FOMC outcome which has to happen next week. So the macro, we need to gather what are we getting from macro front, but then this was a heavy week. What all did you gather, Snehi?
Well, absolutely. So quite summed up by Priyanka over here. But also let's talk about on the stock specific side, what the week that went by looked like. Market swings, quite the volatility we did see in the past week. But brokerages cheered the street over the course of the week, because you had notes coming out on the alco beverage space. You had city gas distribution companies. Brokerages were quite bullish on that front as well. And housing finance companies are also abuzz. Anything like an Aptus, Avas, Home First Finance, you had very stellar moves coming in on that front as well. On the flip side, today RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das did mention in his speech that certain NBFCs are not following regulations, and they will be getting in touch with those. So NBFCs is going to be the one sector to watch out for next week, especially the housing finance companies. And talking about housing finance, the biggest news in Friday's trading session was Bajaj Finance's arm, Bajaj Housing Finance, announcing their IPO, fresh issue of 4,000 crore, offer for sale of 3,000 crore, wherein Bajaj Finance is going to be selling that worth stake. And big news coming on that front as well. So more buzzing can be expected in the entire NBFC space going ahead. Other top news then, Z passed that fundraiser, 2,000 crores is what they're looking to raise. ITC announced its demerger. The shareholders have approved it. They're going to be splitting the hotels business. Keeping it with the hotels business, then Valor Estate has also announced the split of the hotel business. So two stocks in focus on the back of the demergers coming in. Bajaj Housing IPO, well, of course, that was the top news. And while we are talking about demergers, then Vedanta was the one to watch out for, because it also received the last leg of the SBI approval it needed to demerge into 6 different entities. So that was also something that created buzz in the market. But to discuss more about the week that went by and the week that lies ahead of us, let me welcome on board our guest today, Rajesh Palviya, Head Technical and Derivative Research at Axis Securities. And along with that, we have Vinit Bolinjkar, the Head of Research at Ventura Securities. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. Rajesh, I'm going to come to you first. Let's get a little technical with the kind of levels we can expect next week, because the volatility we've seen help our viewers understand what to expect when we enter into next week on the highs, on the lows, Nifty and the other indices as well.
Good afternoon, Sneh. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, it was very volatile. We have seen a level of 21,250 around for Nifty and a recovery, and now closed near to all-time high trajectory. The same way we have seen the same volatility in the Bank Nifty. Almost we have tested 46,000 for Bank Nifty, and now we are trading almost close to 50,000 mark. So very high volatility. A lot of stocks reached their important support area on the near term as well as on the short term chart. But the way market has recovered in last couple of trading session, and India VIX now again back to the below 17 level. So that clearly giving us confidence that again street is confident to have a continuity of this uptrend which we have witnessed in the market since last couple of months. So we are holding bullish view as Nifty is holding about 22,900. That's the important level to watch for going forward. Till Nifty is holding this level, there is a high possibility that we may register a new all-time high in coming week, and possible rally can extend to 23,600 or even 23,700 mark also. So one should keep their stop loss at 22,900 for Nifty spot. Even on the Bank Nifty, 49,200 is the important level to watch for on the downside. And if these levels intact in coming trading session, then possible rally can extend to 50,500 to 50,800 for the Bank Nifty also. The major participation in the banking space is coming from the PSU private bank. So I think private bank may continue furthermore upside from the banking space. So one can focus on those stocks on the banking side, and we believe that again this momentum can continue, and market may register a new all-time high very soon.
You market may hit an all-time high, another record level, but we'll have another questions to you in a bit. But then let's introduce Vinit also. Vinit, hi, welcome. Since we saw it was a heavy action week in terms of political drama. What happened the whole week, and of course a big event to look at. But then the kind of brokerage notes coming in, especially CLSA also mentioning that the government's 100-day plan to include large orders on about infra, defense. How to tread all this? What to make out of it? Will this help restore confidence, or we would actually have to wait till budget and they can be volatile moves coming weeks all again?
So, before the election forward started and the elections were announced, Modi had announced almost 100, if I'm 9 to 10 lakh crores of infra projects. They were either started or, announced. Now, what is happening is that if you've seen that if he can do that in a month's time, I believe that the same kind of fervor can be, unleashed in the coming month. And the 100 days, I think, is a longer window that Modi is giving himself, because, he has got various other things to also get along, including the budget that comes. So I believe that, with the RBI having given the government more than 1 lakh additional surplus, I think there's a lot of room for maneuver and to announce all these projects. And the government has also been, inviting foreigners to invest in India, what we call patient capital. So all these efforts can significantly ramp up power and railways. So, power, railways, defense, obviously. And, today in the conference which was held by the RPG group, they said there are two sectors, whichever incumbent government comes will always, keep in prime focus, that is power and railways, because there is huge demand. So we can safely say that power and railways are the sectors to be long. And I think here the Adani group, the transmission tower companies, the the transformer stocks, and all the allied services, all are expected to do well. In fact, NTPC is going to sign close to 9 gigawatts of orders. So, in renewable, currently they have only a small portfolio, which is not even 1 gigawatt. So, all this coming online, I think, some of the bets to be taken, I think one of the significant multi-baggers could be NTPC, because, they have a vision to do almost about 60,000 gigawatts of renewable power, in addition to the 70 gigawatts of coal power that they have, fossil fuel.
All right, Vinny, thanks for that view coming in. We take that word, power and railways seeing immense demand, and NTPC being one of your top picks. Rajesh, I'm going to come back to you. And while we spoke about power, demand, infra and manufacturing, let's also talk about a sector that has stood like a rock. In fact, it was gaining on the day the market has crashed the day that election outcome came out. And I'm talking about the entire FMCG pack. Now, do you believe that the government's focus on rural demand recovery is going to aid this sector going ahead? Are you seeing only tailwinds going ahead? Is your appetite, is your appetite big on the entire FMCG sector? What's your view coming here, and what would your top recommendations be?
So there was the uncertainty when the counting was there in for election counting was announcing. So most of the bats moved to the defensive sector, and in defensive sector, FMCG, pharma, these two pockets were the majorly focused by the market participants. Though we have seen most of the FMCG stocks like HUL, Dabur, Marico, Britannia, all these stocks have shown good traction in terms of buying, and most of the stocks managed to be breakout on their near term as well as on the short term charts. So we believe that yes, there could be focus on the rural development, and this is all directly linked with the FMCG sector is directly linked with the rural development, and we believe that this sector may continue furthermore upside. So our preferred choice from that sector would be on HUL, Colgate Palmolive, and Dabur. These three stocks are looking promising based on the technical parameter, and we believe that these furthermore momentum we can see going forward in these stocks. Even on the rural theme, we have seen a significant upmove in the two-wheeler automobile space also, and I think that space is also looking promising. During volatile market, automobile was another sector where we have seen continuous buying action was there, and most of the two-wheeler automobile stocks have moved up. Hero Motor, TVS Motor are looking promising on the technical front, and we believe that these two stocks can be looked at to play this theme.
All right, we hear you, Rajesh. We stay for a short break here. Vinit and Rajesh both are with us. Don't go anywhere. We'll slip into a short break. We'll be right back.
Hi there, welcome back. You're still watching Your Trades on ET Now. We have our guest on with us. Gentlemen, thanks so much for staying on with us, Vinit as well as Rajesh. Vinit, I'm going to come back to you. Let's talk a little bit more on the fundamental side. And let's talk about a sector that has been the only sector to end this week in the red. I'm talking about Nifty PSU banks. Earlier in the year, we had a lot of bullish voices coming out on the PSU front, preferring that over the private banks. Do you think that tide is changing for the entire PSU bank space, and would you now favor private banks over PSUs?
So, a brutal reminder of the last, coalition government was the PSUs, which were reduced to absolutely, bankrupt companies. And going into a phase where again we have a coalition government, market did not really like that. So there was a sharp churn from PSU banking stocks towards the private names. And what was more important is that the private banks had their own set of problems, which they are now coming out of. Right? So there is a virtuous cycle which is set up for the private banks to do better. And, we will see that play out. And in the meantime, I expect the PSU banks to slowly start coming back. But the valuations out there will be slightly dampened because of this coalition threat. Again, we have to understand that the PSU banks are very, very cheap. So, the likes of Canara Bank, Bob, and PNB all are trading at one-time book, adjusted book. So, I believe that they offer you great investment opportunities, but I think it would come with a little lag.
All right. One needs to be a little patient here. Okay, coming back to Rajesh. Rajesh, I want to understand, since you've said that there could be a possibility of a new record level on the index, but then how to even understand this, that FIs still continue to hold their short positions? And we have seen the kind of move we saw on the day of Tuesday, the election verdict. They were heavily short that day also, and they still haven't covered it yet. What do we make it out? What do we make out of it? Is it that there can be tough days ahead? One should be ready for it. What do you have to say on this?
So Priyanka, yes, volatility is likely to be there in market till this portfolio allocation not cleared by the new government, and how they roll out their next 100-day roadmap. So I think that may give some bit of volatility in the market. Yes, again there is a Fed policy ahead, so these all factor may create some kind of volatility in market. But if we analyze the broader picture, the broader market is recovering and broader market is clearly showing the confidence. Yes, FIs are absent at this moment, but the retail participation, that is still continuously pumping their money, and they are continuously investing in the market. That is giving support to the market, and we believe that yes, despite volatility, there is a high possibility that upward trajectory may continue. There could be some volatility, but again, those volatility should be used as a buying opportunity in market, as long-term setup for the market is still intact. Even in this decline on the election day also, we managed to hold the important support area or important moving averages despite of this volatility. So that clearly shows that buy on dip strategy is still playing out in the market, and everybody's trying to buy the quality stocks whenever they get the opportunity in the market.
Prepared for volatile moves ahead, but then yet market is looking higher. It's and then let's be prepared for that also. So Rajesh, in that way, which are the stocks that have made it to your radar, which you would recommend who can go higher from here?
Stock is from the banking space and from private bank. We believe that now the Kotak Bank can continue for the more upside. We have seen a smart recovery in last couple of trading session in Kotak Bank. Now stock is trading about 50-day moving average. We expect further more upside in Kotak Bank, and possibly Kotak Bank may able to take out its 200-day moving average in this pullback. Possible target we can see 1800 for trading point of view. Keep your stop loss at around 1720. Second stock is from telecom, that is Bharti Airtel. Very strong setup of Bharti Airtel across all time frame. Continuity of trend is there. Stock again managed to regain its all-time high trajectory. The way stock is moving in upsloping channel on daily chart, we expect that this momentum can extend further. We can see a target towards 1480. Keep your stop loss around 1370. And the third space where we have seen strength, that is metal. And from metal space, we are recommending here Tata Steel. If we analyze the Tata Steel setup, stock again managed to surpass its previous swing high of May 2024. Looking at the recovery in the stock, we believe that metal space can do well, and Tata Steel can continue upward momentum towards 188. One can buy with stop loss of 174.
Rajesh, thanks for your picks coming in. We'll be keeping a close eye on all of these stocks. Vinit, I'm going to quickly comment to you. We're going to try and squeeze up one last question with you. Now, we've hit a pause, as in we've maintained the rates in the MPC meeting today. ECB, on the other hand, has gone ahead and made its first rate cut in 5 years. Now, we have the FOMC next week. What are you projecting on that front? Street is largely saying there's going to be no change, but what's your view coming over here? And also, key very interesting thing that happened today is RBI has upped the GDP growth target from 7% to 7.2 for FY25. Do you think we're well placed to achieve that number?
I definitely think that our growth momentum will sustain, and RBI has been quite conservative in what they've been dishing out. So keeping that in mind, I don't think the rate cut in India will happen, given that, we are still above the 2 to 4 band of inflation. Until we don't get inside the band and we stabilize for a month or so, I don't see the RBI cutting rates with India. As far as the US is concerned, there's a very high chance that, at the FOMC, we will see the stance change more than a rate cut being announced. But the rate cuts could come in future meetings.
Right, that's the view coming in from Vinit. Thanks very much, both of you, Vinit and Rajesh, for joining in, sharing your insights and your recommendations on the show. Thanks very much. Let's take you to another important story. Investors seem to have taken to the consumption stocks amid the volatile moves, amid steep declines. It was the FMCG pack that was well afloat. Are hopes of a rural policy push aiding this uptick, or the rise is simply momentary in nature? Let's understand this. Let's take a stock of the sectoral with market experts with the likes of Atul Suri, Sunil Singhania and Vinu Gopalkar.
It was a laggard sector, was FMCG. So it's not that there were any big build-ups or any over-ownership. This was a space where there was under-ownership. And even to get to equal market weight, you will kind of have to see the kind of buying you're seeing today. So yes, there will be a need. The government will have new priorities. There will be some learnings, and the sense is that there is going to be a lot more rural push. Based on that, there is a pickup in FMCG spaces.
The only place we are underweight is consumption, because by nature we are a little bit value conscious, and most of the companies there used to trade at a slightly higher multiple. But obviously, in this kind of a scary scenario which is being built in, they are the ones who are doing very well.
The way I look at it is that if we were to still broadly view this entire short-term narrative, the short-term narrative is that probably there's going to be a lot of subsidies. There might be a change in terms of how government looks at budget, and that could essentially potentially push some consumption. So is FMCG the right way to look at it? Is the right sector to basically invest? I think there are other ways to invest. You could probably invest in autos for that. You could invest in consumer electrical durables, small value discretionary for that, because those are sectors which are relatively cheaper and have faster earnings growth than your FMCG. So FMCG is not like something that is you should be hiding in. There could be short-term trades around.
Behind a hectic week of trade, but lots to watch out next week as well, Priyanka, because FOMC meeting is going to be happening next week. You have inflation print coming in from China, but this Sunday also you have the swearing in and the very interested India-Pakistan match. Yes, so well, lots to watch out for. But on this note, it's a goodbye from Priyanka and me. Thanks for watching.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.